Crime fiction is loved all over the world, from British writers like Arthur Conan Doyle and Val McDermid, to Americans like Raymond Chandler and Patricia Highsmith, to Scandinavian and European writers like Henning Mankell and George Simenon. But two British novelists are called queens of crime: Agatha Christie and Ruth Rendell. Ruth Graysman was born in London in 1930. Her father was English and her mother was Danish. After she left school, she became a journalist. She married Don Rendell, who was also a journalist. In 1964, Rendell published the first Inspector Wexford novel, From Doon with Death. Wexford, a British policeman who appeared in 24 novels and some short stories, is still Rendell's best-known character, over 50 years after his first appearance. In 1975, Ruth and Don Rendell got divorced, but they remarried in 1977. Ruth Rendell continued to write, and she also started to write under the pseudonym Barbara Vine. The Barbara Vine novels are also crime novels, but they are much darker and more psychological. Some of her novels have been made into films, not only in English, but in other languages too. The French film La Cérémonie was adapted from the novel Judgment in Stone. And Pedro Almodóvar's film Carne Tremula is also based on a Rendell novel, Live Flesh. Ruth Rendell died in 2015. Today she is considered a queen of crime, but most people would probably agree that the original queen of crime is Agatha Christie. Agatha Miller was born in Torquay in the southwest of England in 1890. Her father was American and her mother British. In 1914, she married Archie Christie, who was an army pilot. Christie started to write and published her first novel in 1920, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, in which she created a Belgian private detective, Hercule Poirot. In December 1926, Christie became the centre of her very own mystery when she suddenly disappeared from the family home in Sunningdale near London. Her disappearance was big news in the UK and in the US. For 11 days, the police and the press searched for her. The police also asked Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes, for help, but even he couldn't solve the mystery. The police eventually found Christie in Harrogate in the north of England. She apparently couldn't remember anything, and the mystery of her disappearance was never solved. Soon afterwards, she and Archie divorced. Agatha Christie continued to write. She also married again, to Max Mallowan, who was an archaeologist. This marriage was happy. She created another detective, Jane Marple. Miss Marple is a little old English lady. She lives in a small village and solves crimes quietly and often without leaving her armchair. She is totally different from Hercule Poirot, who Christie described as a complete egoist. She also wrote more personal novels under the pseudonym of Mary Westmacott. Agatha Christie died in 1976, but her books are still read all over the world and watched in films like Murder on the Orient Express, plays like The Mousetrap, and television series like the Miss Marple series. Ruth Rendell and Agatha Christie had many things in common. They were both very successful crime writers, and they both wrote different novels under pseudonyms. They both divorced and remarried, and they're also both strongly associated with the detectives they created. But their approaches were very different. Rendell was always more interested in characters, while Christie loved plots. And while Agatha Christie's readers will read to the end to find out who committed the murder, Ruth Rendell's readers will also want to find out why.